I really started questioning Christianity because, well, just things didn't add up. You know, God being apparently loving, but so evil by killing the firstborn children of Egypt, accepting a burnt virgin sacrifice, Jephthah's daughter, commanding Abraham to kill his only son, flooding the earth, drowning the entire world population with a flood, and then allowing people to go to hell and burn for eternity. That was always a big one for me.
This is a statistics showing reasons why people left Christianity. There are a lot of reasons, but I'll be discussing the top 4 reasons why people left Christianity, and we'll also analyze to see if these reasons are valid reasons for leaving the Christian faith. So let's start with the number 3 reason.
It would be good if you all stretched out a hand towards President Trump and unite our hearts together for him. We thank you, O God, and we come to you in the name of Jesus, who is Lord, Christ our King. We thank you that in your presence there is fullness of joy, and at your right hand pleasures forevermore. And we thank you for our country.
I'm sure you might have guessed that one of the main reasons why people are leaving Christianity is because of Christian involvement in politics. So from the research done, many referred the election of Donald Trump and the support he received from the Christian community. So over here, people are saying that the Christian community supported Trump, and they were like, Trump, he's a racist, he's sexist, like he's this and that, and the church is supporting this guy. So is this a valid reason for leaving Christianity? Well, let's analyze the situation here. So I'm pretty sure that if you ask any true Christian who supported Trump, if you ask this person, why do you support Trump? He will tell you that he supported Trump because of his policy and not because of Trump himself. Yes, we know that Trump is a liar. We know he's bad. We know he's this. We know. But he was supported by the Christian community because of his policies. And why do we say policies? Because most of his policies aligns with the Christian values. So let's say, for instance, they just ended presidential election that was held. So 2 candidates. What were the policy? We have Trump, we have this other person. This other person, she had a policy that supported homosexual acts, a policy that supports abortion and the rest. And these policies do not align with the Christian values. And on the other hand, this guy, Trump, had some policy of his that aligns with our Christian values. So for us Christians, it is not about the party or about the person. It is about which party has the policies that aligns more with our Christian values. And trust me, if the other party, like the Kamaris party, had policies that aligns more with our Christian values, the Christian community would have supported her and not Trump. The next reason why people leave Christianity is because of something called intellectual integrity.
And I really started questioning Christianity because, well, just things didn't add up. You know, God being apparently loving, but so evil by killing the firstborn children of Egypt, accepting a burnt virgin sacrifice, Jephthah's daughter, commanding Abraham to kill his only son, flooding the earth, drowning the entire world population with a flood, and then allowing people to go to hell and burn for eternity. That was always a big one for me.
So in summary, this is when people have doubts about Christian teachings. Like they have doubts like, if God is loving and good, why would he send people to hell? Like if God is all powerful, why would he allow evil to be on earth? Like so many questions. So but these questions is not something that you can answer in one video. But here is a little advice.
Here would be my advice. I want to encourage you, if you are having doubts or you know someone who's having doubts, I want to encourage you to have some conversations with a trained apologist. Notice that phrase, trained apologist, not some YouTuber who thinks they're an apologist, not your pastor who might have the best intentions, but he might be trained to be a pastor, trained to be a preacher, but he's not trained to know how to navigate and explore the different nuances of some of the most difficult questions that people pose to Christianity in attempts to discredit Christianity, discredit God, Jesus, the Bible, ethics, morality, all sorts of different things. Sit down with someone who is trained in this area so that they can help you navigate your doubts.
So here are a few Christian apologies that I do listen to, and I believe that they can help you clear if not most, some of the doubts that you have about Christianity. So before I move on to the next reason, I want to tell you the reason why I'm making this video. So there are 3 reasons, and these reasons are for 3 kinds of people. So the first people are Christians who are on the verge of giving up on Christianity, like who are having this doubt and they're thinking of, nah, like this thing is a scam or something like that. So I'm making this video for them to analyze and see that these are not valid reasons for leaving Christianity. The second people is for mature Christians who will be faced with some of this stuff. So this video is to help them on how they can navigate this stuff. The third reason is for the people who have left Christianity. So this video is for them to analyze and see that the reason they left Christianity is not a valid reason and that there is a chance for them to come back to the Christian faith.
Prime example of this, I was 14 and happened to go on a youth church trip. And on this trip, some of the teenagers decided that they wanted to be a little grown, you know what I'm saying, and engage in some grown activity. And there were 4 people who engaged in this activity, 2 boys and 2 girls. And when we got back, it happened to get back to the pastor that this happened. Well, caused a huge backlash, not only with the youth pastor at the time, but also with all of us because we didn't say anything. And so the 4 who engaged in whatever happened were expected to come back to church and talk about it, to give their reasoning why they did it, etc., etc. Well, the 2 girls showed up and were literally forced to stand in front of the church and talk about what happened and why they did it. But the 2 boys, mind you, one of them was the pastor's son and one of them was like the assistant pastor's son. The 2 boys didn't show up, were never called at like a later service to say anything, none of that. And that caused such a big rift. I think one of the girls' parents ended up leaving the church.
The next reason is the behavior of Christians. So this one, I'm not going to argue. Yes, there are Christians whose behavior is very, very, very bad, like not encouraging. Yes, including pastors themselves. This one is not something that any Christian would deny. So, but there's something I found very interesting that I want you to think about. So, I want you to watch this clip.
So many of you watching this video, you've had similar experiences at the hand of church leaders, but let me give you something to consider. Isn't it interesting that we don't apply this one and done type of mentality to any other area of our lives except when it comes to church, right? For many of you, I recently had a conversation with somebody and they were like, hey, you know what? The reason why I don't go to church anymore, the reason why I don't really believe in God is because whenever I was young, I had a bad experience in church, or I saw a church leader do this or do that. I had a moral failure. So as a result, I'm done. Okay, you don't apply that type of logic in any other area of your life, right? You may have had some bad experiences at your job, but you don't quit working. You don't quit working for any other company for the rest of your life. You might have had some bad experiences in relationships, but hopefully you don't say for the rest of your life you're not going to be in a relationship with anyone at all because you had a bad experience. Why don't we do that? It's because we understand the basic principle, which is the fact that just because one member of a large organization might be evil, might have mistreated you, it does not necessarily mean that all members of that organization or all organizations are bad and evil and out to get you and you shouldn't be a part of them, right?
So to chip in a little bit, I think that people see Christianity as a person rather than a belief system. Let me explain. So people tend to judge the Christian faith using Christians, that is using individual, rather than using our belief system to judge Christianity. Like for example, the video we just watched, the lady was using the behavior of the pastor, an individual, to judge the whole Christian faith. But should that be the case? I don't think so. But let me ask a question. What makes you a Christian? Yeah, what makes you a Christian? Well, let me tell you. Romans chapter 10 verse 9. It says, if you confess that Jesus is Lord and believe that God raised him from death, you will be saved. So we are Christians because we believed that Jesus Christ is God. He left heaven and came down to earth in human form died on the cross for our sins, and on the third day he raised from death. So this is what makes us Christians, our belief. This is what makes us Christian. So which means if one day you should stand up and say that you are no longer a Christian, it means you are saying that you no longer believe that Jesus Christ rose from the dead. It means you are saying that you no longer believe that Jesus Christ is God. So now, if because of what a pastor did to you, or because of what a member, somebody who called himself a Christian, did to you, if you should use because of this and leave Christianity, like, does that mean that you are saying that because of what this person did, it means that Jesus Christ didn't rise from death? Like, it means that Jesus Christ is no longer God. Like, should that be the case? No. So if you want to judge Christianity, you judge Christianity based on its belief system. Does it support justice? Does it support good morals? Like, what does it support? Another thing I want to chip in is, I think people see Christians as these perfect people. Yeah, people without sin. People, should I call them holy, righteous, no sin, flawless? Nah. I think that's how some people see Christians, and that is maybe why when they come to a church and they see the opposite, they'll be like, oh, no, no, no. But the truth is, Christians, we are humans. We have fleshy nature. We battle with lust. We battle with hypocrisy. We battle with a lot of things that the people of the world is battling. And we come to church for God to help us. I think somebody used this analogy. He was like, imagine you are sick and you go to the hospital to receive treatment, and because you saw other patients there, you leave the hospital. Like, really? Like, you are sick, so you have come to the hospital to receive treatment. So you don't need to leave the hospital because there are other patients. So it's likely that when you go to church, you will see these things there. So, and that is not enough reason to say that you are living Christianity. The fourth reason, which is the most reason why people leave Christianity, is how Christians treat the LGBTQ community. Okay, so I'm going to show you a video that will explain this to you in a very mature way. But before that, I want to tell you something. No Christian hates an LGBTQ member. What we hate is their act, the act of homosexuality. And why do we hate it? Because God himself hates it. And even God showed his hate for it by destroying the city of Sodom and Gomorrah. The city is known for its homosexual acts, and God destroyed it. So we don't hate these people. We just hate the act.
LGBTQ discrimination. All right. That is trending towards being a significant reason why many people say, you know what, I don't believe in Christianity because I see how the church treats LGBTQ members. So for this, I want to take my time and I want to talk to two different groups. The first group I want to talk to are people who are in the LGBTQ community, who maybe at one point you were raised Christian or you believe Christian and you're no longer that. The second group that I want to talk to are people who are straight Christians who are losing faith in Christianity because they see how other Christians are treating people from the LGBTQ community. So first, to those who are in the LGBTQ community, typically it goes something like this. Maybe at some point you were raised to be a Christian, you grew up in a Christian home, your parents were Christian, and then at some point you realized that you were same-sex attracted and you were trying to maybe suppress those feelings, but you couldn't, and you wanted to be your authentic self. You wanted to be who you believe God has created you to be. But when you tried to do that, you were met with criticism, you were met with people who made you feel less than, they were condescending, they were mean-spirited in nature, and as a result, they told you that you could not be a Christian and be your authentic self, which is same-sex attracted. And so what happened here is that you had to make a choice. Either I'm going to suppress who I believe I'm going to be, or who God created me to be, or I'm going to leave this religious system who is trying to oppress me and suppress me so I can be my authentic self. And so you left. But let's go deeper. What is at the core of that decision is that you ultimately want to be your own God. You don't want to submit yourself to any other authority that is going to tell you what you can and cannot do, who you can and cannot be. Now let's move on to group number 2. And this group includes straight Christians who dislike how other Christians treat members of the LGBTQ community. And many of them will say, hey, you know what? These people in this community are loving, they're kind, they're not hurting anyone, they are great people. You know what? Nobody is disputing those things. And let me just say this, it is absolutely hateful and wrong for Christians. And I want to apologize on behalf of all Christians who have ever done this. It is hateful and wrong for Christians to mistreat another person who has been created in the image of God, no matter what their sexual preference or orientation is. We as Christians must always treat people with love, but this is the problem. How do you define love? The Bible talks about love as not rejoicing in unrighteousness, right? And so therefore, if that's how the Bible defines love, then those of us who are trying to be biblical Christians can't be forced to bend our norms and standards to basically try to appease a group of people who maybe are going against those norms and standards. That's not love. Let me ask you this question. Let's say that you were alive in the 1930s or 1940s. Would you make the decision to leave Christianity then? No, you probably wouldn't. The reason why you're considering leaving Christianity now is because you are allowing yourself to be conformed to the cultural norms and standards that are happening in our society rather than allowing yourself to be conformed to what the Bible has to say.
So these are the top 4 reasons why people leave Christianity. And like I said earlier, I made this video for 3 reasons and for 3 categories of people. The first one, for people who are on the verge of giving up on Christianity, for them to see and analyze that these reasons are not valid reasons. The second one is for mature Christians who might encounter questions or stuff like this from maybe Christians who are on the verge of giving up or from unbelievers, so that they can know how to handle it. And then thirdly, for Christians who have left the faith, for them to see that their reasons were not valid and there's a chance for them to come back to the Christian faith. So with that being said, peace out.